Now is the time of the year where our plants are growing before our eyes. Many of you could be very happy with the results of the efforts in your garden, and some of you could be very disappointed that your plants are not growing as you had hoped. You may know that compost is essential to a good garden, but did you also know that too much compost can be a problem too? I would like to share a breakdown of my soil report. May this help you take the guesswork out of what you should do with your garden.
There are no absolutes to garden. There are many ways. I offer you some ideas to help get started in your own garden dream. My name is Keenan, and I'm a professional gardener by trade. I want to help you garden step by step, present a variety of farming industries for inspiration, and help you find resources and supplies for your own garden needs. Be it in the soil, container, water, or air, I believe you can grow anywhere. Let's garden.
Good morning. My name is Keenan, and welcome to Let's Garden. I want to follow up on my soil test results and interview part 1. This is part 2. Let's get with it. Today, I'll be sharing with you my soil test report and give you a little breakdown. I had a viewer ask to give a breakdown and what it means and what you can do to your garden. So here we go. So you saw in a prior video I took a soil sample, dropped it off at the analytical lab for testing here in Logan at Utah State University. And when you do this, they will send you an email and a physical letter by mail. What I had tested for was a routine soil test, and this tests for your macronutrients, which is N, P, and K. It reveals what your soil texture is and the pH. And they will give you the interpretation, whether that's normal or it could be low, it could be high, and they'll give you guidelines of what you need to apply or not apply. I tested for things that I would grow in my garden for like tomatoes, pepper, and watermelon. When you go and do this basic routine test, this can fall into many crops. Just as long as you put something in the garden section for your choice when you go and fill out your form, they'll give you this feedback. Soil texture, when you're looking at the soil test results, mine's a clay loam. I was asked, what's the most ideal soil? It's a loam. Mine tends to be a little bit more clay, but it's still a good soil. It's a little sticky. There's 3 main particles that build up your soil, and that is the sand, silt, and clay. Sand's kind of coarse. It's the biggest particle, and it's coarse. It's rough, like gritty. And then clay is the finest particle, very small. We're talking in millimeters. When combined together, it's sticky. And then you got silt, which is kind of more smooth feeling, and it's a little bit bigger than clay, way definitely smaller than sand. That soil texture is very important. It's what's going to house your plant, and it definitely needs organic matter to make it better. With sand, we'll want to be able to hold water in a little bit longer, because sand, it will just drain through, but you don't want to necessarily add clay to that or it'll become cement-like. So what you would do is add organic matter to retain the water. Either way, organic matter in the form of compost is going to be probably your best choice to do. It will be a matter of quantity is the question. And this soil test, what's nice about it is it takes out the guesswork of what to put on. With that being said, you also have your clay soils. We want them to drain because they hold in a lot, so we don't want it too bogged down so we don't cause issues like rotting out your plant roots and bring in the demise of your plant that way. Again, the answer to that would be like adding organic matter to your soil. And there's a few forms, but one of the best ones that I know is compost. There's a soil triangle, and I'll leave a link. Your soil test report will say this is what your soil is. Again, the ideal soil is a loam. That covers soil texture. pH is a measurement chemically in your soil of how acidic or basic it is. 7 is neutral on the pH scale. Anything below 7 is what we deem an acidic soil. And anything above 7 is what we deem a basic or alkalinic or alkaline soil. So out here in Utah, where we're going to access most nutrients and where pH plays a role in the soil chemically, is you're going to want a pH between 6 and 8 to access those nutrients. Mine falls 7.5. I can access those nutrients on a whole. That's normal. That's that interpretation. Salinity is a measurement of salts in your soil, and there's a measurement. This DS over M is decisiemens per meter, and this measures the electrical conductivity in the soil. This is passing on those nutrients in the soil, thinking electrons, what you learned in science in school. If you have too high of a salt level in your soil, that's bad for plant growth. It could actually cause your plants to burn. And there's some plants that they'll die, and they have a threshold of that. But there's a way to manage that, and the first way to know about what's happening in your soil, whether you've applied too much compost, too much fertilizer, your report's going to tell you that, and there will be an interpretation what the status is and give you a guideline how to go about to fix it. That's why EC is important. They'll give you a quantity or measurement, decisiemens per meter. And in my soil, that's normal. You got phosphorus, potassium, or nitrogen. These are your macronutrients. These are the critical elements in your soil for plant growth. And they're measured in milligrams per kilogram. So I have 47 milligrams per kilogram in my soil. It's pretty high. And phosphorus in the form of phosphate. This says don't apply any of that. Same with potassium. I've got 405 milligrams per kilogram in my soil. These two elements are found in compost. So in other words, I applied compost from last year and in times past, and my soil report is saying, hey, lay off from putting on the compost. That's what I've done this year, and to bring it down and to water. And then when I go and take a test the following year, then maybe I can add more. And then again, nitrogen, I put 2 to 4 pounds of nitrogen in the soil. And how I would do this, I like to use the inorganic fertilizer. There are organics for those of you that are interested. Like there's bone meal, feather meal, blood meal. And I can leave those sources below for those interested. But I like to use the inorganic fertilizer just because it's in a granular form, so it's slow release over time during the garden season, so it's not all used up right on the spot, and it's just cleaner, easier to use. I like to use it the best in this situation for my garden purposes, and I use it like a broadcast spreader to spread it out and then incorporate and till it in. Just this last 5 elements, these are what we deem micronutrients. So you got zinc, iron, copper, manganese, and sulfur. And again, they're all measured in milligrams per kilogram. The routine soil test that I've taken doesn't reveal it. But if first time taking your soil test, it's recommended that you do a comprehensive soil test, and they'll show you what's in your soil, whether that's low, it's just right, or it's a little high, and what you can do to fix it. And they are important for plant growth. But in my case, for my soil, it wasn't necessary. It's not something to get hung up on. Organic matter, this is the percentage that makes up in your soil presently. If you haven't been applying, it's kind of nice to know what already exists and additionally could be applied. Again, compost. And the recommendation that I've read, 1 inch from what I've read, it kind of maintains your soil structure, and adding up to 2 inches in the year of compost, this will improve your soil conditions. If you're ever curious of the compost that you want to apply, you can always get it tested. If you ever have a question, you can call up your local county extension agent. They have a copy of your report, and you can ask them on how to amend accordingly. And then this last one, the SAR, this has to deal with sodic soils, and there are measurements for this as well. But this more deals with compaction and soil crusting and salt buildup. And if you're ever in this issue right here, there is reclamation techniques, usually what we call gypsum or calcium sulfate, and just a county agent and extension can help you out in this matter of what to apply and how to apply.
How's it going in your garden? Please leave your comments below. If you like this video, please like, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video.